The day after our wedding, I woke up feeling like I was living in a dream. Ethan, my new husband, was still asleep beside me, his steady breathing a comforting reminder that we were finally, officially together. It had been the perfect day, the perfect ceremony, and the perfect beginning. Everything I had ever imagined for myself was now real. I wanted to savor every moment of it. But that night, when my phone buzzed, reality came crashing down. It was a message from my mom. Come to the family dinner tomorrow night. We need to talk. My heart sank a little. Family dinners were never just dinners with them. They always had something they needed or something they wanted. Ethan, blissfully unaware of the dynamics of my family, smiled and kissed my forehead. "Everything okay?" he asked. I nodded, though I didn't feel okay. The excitement of the wedding still clung to me. But I knew the dinner was coming, and with it the familiar weight of responsibility I had always felt toward my family. The dinner was nothing like I had hoped it would be. We sat at the worn oak table in the kitchen, the faint smell of her cooking hanging in the air, and my mom wasted no time getting to the point. "Vivian, we need to talk about your wedding money." I froze. My dad, Charles, looked up from his glass of wine, and Sophie, my older sister, shifted uncomfortably in her seat. My mind raced as my mother continued, her voice calm but firm. "Sophie needs help. She's been through a lot with her last marriage, and now she wants to get some work done. A little surgery. We thought maybe you could help her with your wedding gift money." I blinked. This was not what I was expecting. It was an uncomfortable silence before I could muster up any words. "What do you mean? My wedding money?" I asked, my voice faltering. My mother smiled thinly, the kind of smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "You're married into a good family now, Vivian. You've got a future. This is just a small request, and we all know that family helps family." The words hit me like a slap. Sophie, sitting across from me, stared at her plate, but I could see the subtle pleading in her eyes. She was silent, yet her posture screamed desperation. I felt a knot tighten in my chest. The pressure was mounting. "You're married into wealth, Vivian," my mom continued, her voice laced with a mixture of pity and expectation. "You can spare a little. You've always had everything you needed. Don't you think it's time to give back to your family?" I could feel the room closing in on me. The walls felt like they were closing in. My hands clenched into fists under the table. My mind screamed to resist, but I wasn't sure if I could. Not in front of them. Not without risking their wrath. The silence that followed was thick with tension. I could feel the judgment hanging in the air. It was as if they were looking at me not as their daughter, but as a means to an end. They had always asked for more from me, but now it felt different, more demanding. I looked at my mother, at my father, and then at Sophie. My sister's eyes were wide, imploring, her lips trembling. "It's just a little help," she said softly, almost pleading. "Please, Vivian." The word stung. Help. I whispered to myself. It wasn't help, it was manipulation. The realization hit me hard. I wasn't just being asked for money. I was being asked to sacrifice my happiness, my future. I wanted to scream, to refuse outright, but I was too caught in the web they had spun. Finally, I took a deep breath and spoke, my voice more resolute than I felt. "No, I won't give you my wedding money." The room went completely still. My dad's face contorted with anger, his hands clenching into fists. "What did you just say?" he growled. "I said no," I repeated. "The money is for my future with Ethan, not for Sophie's surgeries or anyone else's plans." "You're being selfish," my dad snapped, his voice rising. "Ungrateful." My mom's face hardened, and her lips curled into a thin, cold smile. "I can't believe this. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us." The hurt from her words cut deeper than I expected. My chest tightened, but I stood my ground. I had finally done it. I had said no. Sophie's face twisted in anger and disappointment. "You think you're better than us now, don't you?" she shot back, her voice barely controlled. "No," I said, my voice trembling, slightly despite my firm resolve. "I just don't want to be used anymore." The silence that followed was suffocating. I could feel the weight of my decision pressing down on me. My heart ached for the family I had always tried to please, but deep down I knew I had made the right choice. I got up from the table, my legs unsteady, but my resolve firm. "I won't be a tool for your convenience anymore. I'm done," I said, my voice shaky but strong. As I turned and walked toward the door, I heard my father muttering angrily behind me, but I didn't look back. The door slammed behind me, and the cold air hit my face as I stepped outside. I didn't know what the future would hold, but I knew one thing. I was done being manipulated. Driving home, I felt numb, my hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. My mind kept replaying the conversation, the hurtful words, and the bitter realization that my family saw me as a means to an end. But as the miles passed, something else began to settle in. I wasn't just angry. I was empowered. I was reclaiming my life, my future. And no one, not even my family, could take that away from me. This wasn't about money. It was about control. And I wasn't going to let them control me anymore. I could still feel the tension in the pit of my stomach, the aftershock of that dreadful dinner. The words my family had thrown at me echoed in my mind, but I was determined not to let it break me. As I lay in bed, my thoughts were a whirlwind of emotions: anger, betrayal, confusion. But beneath it all, there was a flicker of something else, a sense of liberation. I had finally done it. I had stood up for myself. I hadn't backed down. But what came next? How could I stop this from destroying my life? I spent most of the night staring at the ceiling, reflecting on all the times my family had used me, the countless occasions when they'd asked for financial help or emotional support, expecting me to be the one to fix things for them. My heart clenched as I realized how much I had sacrificed, how much of my own life had been pushed aside to make room for their demands. And every time I gave in, it only fueled their need to take more. That was the moment I knew I was done. I wasn't going to let them manipulate me anymore. I wasn't going to be their financial safety net. I wasn't going to be their emotional punching bag. I needed to take control. The next morning, I called my old friend Dylan Harper. He'd become a lawyer after law school, and while I'd never needed legal advice before, today I needed him. I needed to understand my options. Ethan could see the change in me. I could feel his eyes on me as I sat across from him at breakfast, pushing my eggs around my plate. "Viv, are you okay?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. I looked up at him, forcing a smile. "Yeah, just thinking." "I know this is tough," he said, reaching for my hand. "I just want you to know I'm here for you. But I don't get it. I don't get why they're treating you this way." "I don't either," I said quietly, my voice thick with emotion. "But I'm not going to let it break me. I've made my decision." By the time I sat down with Dylan, I felt a strange sense of clarity. The lawyer's office was quiet, and as I recounted the events of the past few days, Dylan listened intently, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Vivian, this is more than just a family dispute," Dylan said after a long pause. "This is about control. They've been manipulating you for years, and now they've crossed a line." "I can't let them do this anymore," I replied, my voice firm. "I need to understand my rights, what I can do to protect myself." Dylan nodded. "First, you need to keep a record of everything. All the demands, the conversations, everything. If it escalates, you'll need this. And I'd advise you to be prepared for them to take this further, emotionally, financially, maybe even legally. You have a right to stand up for yourself." I left Dylan's office with a renewed sense of purpose. For the first time in days, I felt like I was finally doing something for myself. I wasn't just reacting to my family's demands. I was preparing for battle. The legal advice, the clarity, it all gave me the strength to keep pushing forward. But even as I felt empowered, I couldn't help but wonder what was coming next. How far would my family go to get what they wanted? And would I lose everything in the process? As I sat in my car, staring out at the busy street, I tried to calm my nerves. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but I had made my decision. I wasn't going to back down. Later that evening, as I was finishing dinner, the phone rang. I saw Sophie's name flash across the screen, and I hesitated before answering. "Vivian," Sophie's voice came through the phone, shaky and emotional. "We need to talk. You're tearing the family apart. I can't believe you're doing this. Please, don't let this be the end of us." Her words were like poison, dripping with guilt. "Sophie, this isn't about you. This is about me. I'm not going to let you manipulate me anymore." "You're being selfish," Sophie snapped. "If you were truly my sister, you would help me." I felt a cold fury building inside me, but I took a deep breath. I won't be manipulated anymore. I'm setting boundaries. And if that means you don't understand, then so be it. Sophie's emotional blackmail only made me more resolute. I saw her for who she truly was now, a person who would stop at nothing to get what she wanted, even if it meant using family ties to tear me down. But I wasn't going to let her do that anymore. I wasn't going to let her, or anyone, control me. When I hung up the phone, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I had done what I needed to do. I had set boundaries. The road ahead was going to be tough, but I was ready. The next few days were rough. Charles, my older brother, became hostile, accusing me of abandoning the family. Sophie sent me passive-aggressive texts, implying that I was the one ruining everything. And my mom, Linda, started treating me like I was an outsider. The emotional distance between us grew, and I could feel it. I felt the weight of my decision, the isolation. But there was a part of me, buried deep down, that felt strong. It was the part of me that had finally had enough. Ethan didn't understand at all. He saw how hard I was trying to hold on to our marriage while dealing with everything else. "I don't get it, Viv," he said one night. "Why are they doing this to you? You've always been there for them." "I don't know, Ethan," I said softly, "but I can't keep giving in to their demands. It's killing me." The tension was thick, but I could feel something changing inside of me. I was no longer the passive daughter, the one who gave everything to everyone else. I was standing up for myself. But just when I thought I might get a break, a call from Dylan threw me off course. "Vivian, I've got something you need to hear," he said, his voice low. "I overheard something today. Your brother and mother are already planning legal action against you. They're not going to let this go." I could feel my heart race. This was escalating, and fast. The battle had only just begun. The decision had been made. There was no turning back now. As I sat at the kitchen table with Ethan, I felt the weight of what was to come. I could feel the anxiety bubbling up, but also a fierce determination that I hadn't experienced in years. "I'm going to do it," I said, breaking the silence. "I'm taking legal action against them." Ethan's brow furrowed, concern spreading across his face. "Vivian, are you sure about this? It's going to change everything. Our marriage, your relationship with your family." "I know," I replied, my voice barely a whisper. "But I can't keep letting them use me. I need to take control of my life. I have to do this." It wasn't easy. I knew that standing up to my family, especially Charles, would come at a heavy cost. But at this point, I had nothing left to lose. I had already lost the respect of my parents, and Sophie had made it clear that she didn't care about me, only about what she could get from me. I called Dylan Harper the next day. Dylan wasn't just a lawyer, he was an old friend from college, someone I could trust. I told him everything. The emotional manipulation, the financial demands, how my family had been using me for years. He listened intently, not interrupting, just taking it all in. When I finished, he paused for a moment. "Vivian, I'm glad you came to me. You have a strong case. Financial manipulation and emotional abuse, these are serious charges. But you need to be prepared. This won't be easy, and it's going to take a toll on you. Not just emotionally, but legally. Your family won't back down." I nodded, feeling the weight of his words. "I'm ready," I said, although a small part of me felt uncertain. This was a new chapter, one I hadn't imagined for myself. But it was my only option now. Later that night, Ethan and I talked again. He was trying to understand, but I could see the strain in his eyes. He didn't know what it was like to grow up under the constant pressure of being the family's emotional crutch. He had been supportive so far, but I knew this legal battle was going to put a strain on us. "I love you, Vivian," Ethan said quietly. "But this is going to change everything. I don't know if we can handle all of this." "I know," I said, my voice trembling. "But I can't go on like this. I have to do something. I need to take control of my life, for once. Please understand that." Ethan exhaled sharply, rubbing his temples. "I do understand, but I'm scared, Viv. I'm scared for us." I nodded, feeling the same fear gnawing at me. But the fear of losing my family was nothing compared to the fear of losing myself. The next morning, the first confrontation came. I had never been good at confrontation, but today I was determined to face Charles. My brother, the one who had always seemed so strong, so confident. Today, I was going to see him for what he truly was. "Vivian," he said coldly when I called him, "I don't know why you're doing this. You're ruining the family." I clenched my fists. "No, Charles, I'm not ruining the family. You're the one who's been using me for years." The conversation quickly escalated. Charles's voice grew louder, angrier. "You owe me, Vivian. You owe this family. I've always protected you. And now, when I need you, you turn your back on me." I stood my ground. "I'm not your ATM, Charles. I'm not here to bail you out of your financial messes anymore." He paused, a brief moment of silence before he spoke again, his voice dripping with venom. "If you think you can win this battle, you're wrong. I'll make sure you regret it. I'll make sure the whole world knows how selfish you are." I could feel the anger rising in me, but I refused to let him control me any longer. "I'm not afraid of you anymore." Charles huffed, sounding more defeated than I'd ever heard him. "You will be," he muttered before hanging up. But it wasn't over yet. The very next day, Sophie called. Her voice was soft, but I could hear the edge in it. "Vivian," she said, "you've really messed things up. Do you realize what you're doing? You're tearing this family apart. If you don't help me, I'll never speak to you again." I felt a wave of frustration wash over me. "Sophie, I'm not your personal bank, and I'm not going to let you manipulate me anymore." "You're being selfish," she snapped. "After everything I've been through, you're just going to turn your back on me?" I felt the familiar pang of guilt, but this time I stood firm. "I'm not turning my back on you. I'm just refusing to be your pawn anymore." Her voice was cold. "You're really going to do this, aren't you? You're really going to let all of this go down? Fine. But remember, family is everything. And you're about to lose yours." The word stung, but I wasn't going to let them break me. This was bigger than Sophie, bigger than Charles. This was about me reclaiming my life. As the days went on, the legal battle started to unfold. Dylan and I had our first court hearing. The tension in the courtroom was thick as I walked in, my stomach in knots. Charles's lawyer was a smooth talker, well-prepared and relentless. His opening remarks painted me as a money-hungry daughter, someone who had been taking advantage of her family's goodwill. I sat there, the weight of the accusation pressing down on me, but I refused to flinch. Dylan's defense was sharp and calculated. He presented evidence of Charles's financial struggles and the years of manipulation I had endured. He argued that I was simply trying to reclaim my independence from a family that had systematically tried to strip it away. But the real bombshell came when Dylan revealed a piece of unexpected evidence, a bank statement that showed Charles had been siphoning money from family accounts to cover his own debts. The courtroom was silent as the statement was read aloud. My parents looked stunned, their faces pale. For the first time, they saw the truth. I felt a rush of triumph, but it was quickly followed by a sense of disbelief. How could my own brother have done this? How could he have used me like this? That night, after the hearing, my phone buzzed. It was Charles. You think you've won, don't you? His voice was low, threatening. But this isn't over. I'll make sure you regret this. I wasn't afraid anymore. I had already seen who he truly was. The family fallout was immediate. My mother, Linda, called me, accusing me of destroying everything. You've ruined your life, Vivian, she cried. You've broken this family. I stood firm, my voice steady. I didn't break this family. You did, with all the manipulation and lies. Charles gave me an ultimatum. Drop the lawsuit, and he would help me get my life back on track. If not, I'll destroy everything you've worked for, he threatened. But I wasn't backing down. The chapter ended with a chilling twist. As I was preparing for the next court hearing, Dylan called. He had an anonymous tip. A family friend had been feeding Charles information about my legal strategy. I froze, my blood running cold. Who could it be?